The rain pounded on the windshield as Sarah navigated the winding road leading to the remote town of Ravenscroft. She'd received a mysterious invitation in the mail, one that promised answers to the questions that had haunted her for years. The invitation was embossed with an intricate symbol and bore the emblem of an exclusive club she'd never heard of. Intrigued and restless, she had decided to make the journey. Ravenscroft was a place forgotten by time, an eerie town shrouded in thick mist and surrounded by dense, ancient forests. The townsfolk were reclusive, and their hushed conversations ceased when an outsider approached. Sarah couldn't help but feel that her arrival had stirred something long buried in the town's history. As she parked her car in front of a dilapidated mansion at the edge of town, she realized this was the address on the mysterious invitation. The mansion, once grand, had fallen into disrepair. She hesitated, but ultimately pushed open the creaking gates, her footsteps echoing in the overgrown garden. The invitation had mentioned a gathering tonight, and Sarah's curiosity outweighed her unease. Inside the mansion, a dimly lit room was filled with a dozen or so people, all dressed in dark, formal attire. They stood in a circle, each holding a small, ornate box. Sarah joined the circle, her eyes scanning the faces, but she recognized no one. A tall, imposing figure emerged from the shadows. His piercing eyes locked onto Sarah's as he introduced himself as Victor Kane, the host of the gathering. He explained that they were all connected by a past life course, a program that promised to unlock the secrets of one's previous incarnations. The group had gathered to embark on a journey through their past lives, an experiment that had been conducted here in Ravenscroft centuries ago. Sarah listened as Victor spoke about the history of the town, revealing that it was once a hub of esoteric knowledge and forbidden rituals. The past life course was simple, yet unsettling. The participants were asked to open their ornate boxes, each containing a piece of jewelry. Sarah found a pendant with a deep blue sapphire. They were instructed to close their eyes and focus on the object, allowing it to transport them to a different time and place. As she held the pendant, Sarah's surroundings faded away, and she found herself in a world not her own. She was in the body of a young woman named Eliza, living in the 17th century. She felt Eliza's love and longing for a man named Jonathan, a forbidden love that would eventually lead to tragedy. Through a series of regressions, Sarah lived countless lives, experiencing love, loss, and betrayal. She was an artist in Renaissance Italy, a soldier in the American Civil War, a Viking warrior, and more. Each time, she felt an unexplainable connection to her past lives, as if she had truly been there. The past life course continued for days, and the experiences grew more intense. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. She confided in a fellow participant, Emily, who had also been feeling uneasy about the course. As the group delved further into their past lives, Sarah and Emily discovered a common thread connecting all their incarnations, a sinister presence that haunted them throughout time. It was a malevolent entity, a darkness that thrived on their suffering and grew stronger with each regression. Desperation and fear gripped the group as they continued their regressions. The dark entity began to manifest itself during their sessions, tormenting them with visions of death and despair. It was clear that the past life course had unleashed a force that they were ill-equipped to confront. Sarah and Emily decided to investigate the history of Ravenscroft in search of answers. They discovered a chilling tale from the town's past, the story of a cult that had once thrived in the town, practicing forbidden rituals to gain immortality. Their leader, a man named Edgar Blackwood, had bound his soul to an otherworldly entity, granting him power over time and life itself. Sarah and Emily realized that the only way to end the curse that had plagued them through the centuries was to find Edgar Blackwood's remains and sever his connection to the malevolent entity. They enlisted the help of a local historian, Dr. Samuel Wright, who had knowledge of the town's history. Together, they uncovered the location of Blackwood's tomb, hidden deep within the town's forest. Armed with ancient texts and a plan, they set out on a perilous journey, knowing that the entity would stop at nothing to protect its master. The group reached the forest, and after hours of searching, they discovered a hidden mausoleum, covered in intricate symbols and wards. Inside, they found Blackwood's well-preserved body, surrounded by relics of the cult's dark practices. As they prepared to destroy the body, the malevolent entity manifested itself in a nightmarish form. It attacked with a ferocity that matched the fear and suffering of all the souls it had tormented throughout the centuries. Sarah, Emily, and Dr. Wright fought back, using the knowledge they had gained from their past life regressions and the power of the artifacts they had collected. In a harrowing battle, they managed to weaken the entity, but it refused to yield. In a final act of desperation, Sarah made a heartbreaking decision. She offered herself as a vessel for the malevolent entity, allowing it to merge with her in exchange for sparing the others. As the entity consumed her, Sarah saw flashes of all her past lives, each one contributing to the entity's insatiable hunger for suffering. With the entity now contained within her, Sarah was able to destroy Edgar Blackwood's remains, severing its connection to the physical world. The mausoleum crumbled, burying Blackwood's body and the entity beneath tons of rubble. With the threat vanquished, the town of Ravenscroft began to heal, and the mist that had shrouded it for centuries began to dissipate. Sarah's sacrifice had saved her friends and the countless souls ensnared by the malevolent entity. As the weeks passed, Sarah's connection to the entity remained. Though it had been weakened, she could hear its whispers, urging her to release it, to continue its reign of terror. But she resisted, determined to ensure that the entity would never harm anyone again. The past life course had brought answers to Sarah, but it had also unleashed a horror that threatened to consume her. She lived on with the echoes of the damned, a testament to the darkness that could befall those who tread into the secrets of the past.